Welcome to On Mission with Proclaim Cuba. Last year you embraced Cuba. This year we invite you to connect. Connect with Cuba is more than a theme, it's a calling. As we walk forward in our 10-year vision to establish empowering centers across the island, we want you to see, hear, and feel the life-changing work God is doing. Through the voices of those who have gone before, you'll hear firsthand stories of faith, mission, and transformation. Stories that will inspire you to deepen your own connection. So lean in, listen closely, and discover how you can be a part of what God is building in Cuba. This is On Mission with Proclaim Cuba.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Alamino. I serve as Executive Director for Proclaim Cuba, and I am a different voice today because I'm taking over Andrew for this episode. I have the blessing to share a little bit of time with my friend Adam, and we just had a mission trip to Cuba that was amazing. We've been friends for a couple of years now. He came to Cuba. I don't remember what year that you came, but I would like for him to introduce himself and share a little bit about him and how he connected to us.
Yeah, my name's Adam Ewing. I've been going to Christ Fellowship Church in McKinney, Texas for almost 14 years now. And so I serve as an elder there and a life group leader, and really felt the Lord pushing me back into mission, something that I did for many years previously. And our church got connected with Proclaim Cuba and with Carlos. And so we went on the very first exploratory trip together almost 4 years ago now. And so I was able to get introduced to that and just really fell in love with the mission, the heart, the intent of what everything that they were doing. So this was awesome to be able to go back this year and be able to serve again.
Yeah, that's awesome. The first trips that we did was more like a vision trip. So we got to Havana. You got to see the ministry kind of in action, talking to the pastors, learning the work that they were doing. But this trip that we had was a little bit different. So this trip was a painting trip with a few friends in our empowering center in Camagüey. So tell me a little bit why did you decide to, okay, I'm going to Cuba to paint a dorm. So how was that process?
Yeah, so for me, I love seeing how the Lord works at different places in the world, and getting to know some of the heart of the Cubanos in the previous trips just really encouraged me to want to go. And while we might not be able to provide a lot of skill, really the question was, how can we help? And the answer was, we can come and paint. And so I said, hey, that's fantastic. We can do that. I can paint. That's something I can do. And we can recruit some people and see what the Lord's got. Because I know that while we're going there to paint, really the intent is to figure out how we can grow our relationship with other Cubans while we're there and what the Lord's going to do. And painting just one way that we get to see what he's going to do. And so I think for me, that was a huge piece of it, was just to figure out what he was going to do beyond just painting, and being able to serve alongside the people that are local there and just getting to know them, build relationships, and more than anything, to see how Jesus is going to work through all of us.
Yeah, definitely. I was very excited for this trip because I know that probably painting are trips that people do all over the world. Like in Cuba, painting hits a little bit different because there are not a lot of resources that you can find in Cuba. So you need to bring everything from the US. And of course, as with a US mindset, you go to Home Depot and you got a lot of supplies. I mean, you got everything. When you showed up in Cuba with all those rollers and the extension things and then tape, and so our team in Cuba was blown away when we handed that painting tape to a guy and said, hey, can you tape the whole windows? And they had no clue. Okay, what are you really asking me? What are you going to do with tape? So it was very, very unique for me to see their faces when they saw you guys using rollers to paint a wall. So I don't know, tell me a little bit about that, because that was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was great. Well, first of all, Carlos was really nervous just about, are we going to have things that paint concrete? So I had to really make sure that everything we had was good for concrete, and so that was the first piece of it. And then we showed up, and the things like you said that we don't even think about, rollers and extension poles and all these things that we use that are basic painting things, when we opened them up, and everybody's reaction was just like, what is this? I don't even know. I've never seen this. And rolling pans. And so just, I think everybody was thinking, oh, okay, this is going to take 4 days to paint. And then when we showed them how to use a roller for the first 20 minutes, it was like this massive aha moment. And everybody was like, this is the best thing ever. And we're going to do this so much faster, you know? And so it wasn't within an hour. And I think everybody that was there helping us had a roller in their hands and they were trying to figure out how to use it and learn it and do it. And we had people masking all the windows and doing all the trim for the first time. They'd never done that before. And so I think the awesome thing is that while it was new to them, they quickly learned it, jumped right into it, had a heart to do it, and wanted to just start tackling everything with us, you know? So it was almost like you could just hand it off to them and they just took everything with it, which was really cool to see.
That was phenomenal. There was something you brought in this trip that even for me was really hard to believe. It was how you call that bag of little pieces of clothes that you got to start like cleaning, and there's a name for it.
Yeah, it's rags. You know, it's a bag literally of torn T-shirts that we call just rags. They're literally just to clean up paint. That's all they're there for.
So they were like talking about that a lot, and one of those guys said, I can make a shirt out of this, so why should I use it to clean the paint? So that was phenomenal. One of the things that I really like with these mission trips is that, without a team coming to Cuba, without a team being willing to do things like that, we wouldn't have access to the paint, to the funds to be able to buy it, to all the good supplies that you brought that not just are going to be used during the time you were there. Like all of that stayed behind so that they can continue doing the work. So the impact of this trip is way beyond of that dorm that was painted in the 4 days that you were there in Cuba. There was another very I think this is a great highlight of the trip is related with your work. So tell our audience, what do you do for a living?
Yeah, so I work at Traxxas, which does high-end remote control cars. So our cars go between 30 and 100 miles an hour, and they're all remote controlled, but they're made to jump high, go fast, go through rough terrain, do all those kinds of things. So it's a very fun job, has a lot of interesting things. And so the cool part is Carlos encouraged me to see if I could figure out how to bring it along with me. And I mean, he could probably share the reaction even better than I could, because I was trying to make sure I had all the things there, all the things were working, so he was able to see all the people's interaction when I was able to take it out of the car and actually drive it for the first time.
Well, I would say that you became a rock star with this trip. As you showed up with all the painting stuff. That was great. Once you took that RC car out of the van and you mentioned, hey, I brought two different batteries. I couldn't understand why do you bring two batteries? But apparently one, it will make the car move slower and the other one pretty fast. So what's the deal with those two batteries?
Yeah, so you don't want to give something that's too much to somebody that's always trying it for the first time. So you bring one battery that helps them kind of get used to it, drive it, it's a little bit slower. And then you give them the other battery when you want to do all the extra bigger tricks, jump higher, go faster, do all those things. So everybody was able to experience something that was a little more introduced, so that they get used to it. And then they were able to really experience all the crazy power. And we had crashes that we got on film. And, I think everybody was thinking, oh man, we just crashed it, it's going to break. That's what we make them for. We make them to crash, make them to tumble, make them to do crazy things. And so it was really cool to see everybody's interaction with that and figure out, wow, what is this thing even capable of doing? Jumping it over the tree. I thought that was really fun to be able to see everybody.
Yeah, and I think we had the perfect scenario because this is a construction field where there is a lot of construction, a lot of dirt around. So you got the wheels that were more like a 4x4 type of wheels off road. It was amazing. And we have the kids of the administrator at the camp. They were hunting me down for the entire camp, just waiting for you guys to finish painting so that he was able to get his hands on that. So it was amazing to see all the workers in the field, the administrator family coming out and making, it was spectacular. So I believe this needs to be the way we do mission trips moving forward. Is we need to bring in RC car so to get those guys playing. That was pretty good. But as we were working on the field, there was another important part of this trip that was introducing to you our baseball field, the first owned baseball field being built by a church, where the church is actually the owner of the field. And tell me a little bit about that, because this trip took a turn that we didn't plan, and you actually play softball every single day that you were in Cuba. Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm still paying physically for paying softball every night because I'm still sore from doing it, but every bit of it is worth it, And so, all of us, honestly, we were really curious. We were curious what that meant to go play either baseball or softball. And so while we were really excited, we also didn't know what that meant. So to walk I remember the walk very, very clearly because the plot is beautiful of land. And so when we're walking back in the corner, I was like, oh, wow, this is a legitimate baseball field. It has a fence. It's all scaled out. It has the stripes painted on it. It had dugouts in there. I mean, it was like, oh, wow, this isn't just a field that we're going to make a field. It's already a baseball field. So I was really impressed with that. I thought that was really neat. And while I know you guys are working on it and you'll continue to improve it, all the elements were there. You didn't feel like you were walking into just a normal place and trying to make a baseball game. It was like, oh, you walk through the gate and you enter the field and then you're on the field with everybody. And I thought that the heart of everybody that was playing was so fun. I think it was the highlight for all of us that were there. Just, people that we had never met, people that don't even speak the same language as us. And before we know it, within 20 minutes, we're playing catch, warming up, and then we're playing on the baseball field against each other, with each other. And I think that's just a testimony to what the Lord can do in ways that we can't ever explain because, again, I didn't speak and none of us spoke the same language. And we're out there and we're having fun and we're laughing and we're all enjoying the exact same thing. And while we're all not necessarily good, and there were some guys that were way better than we were that came on the trip, they were really good and making sure that they helped us, kind of carried us along with it. And I think the amount of laughter that we had when we were out there on the field, it was special. It was something that I think spiritually for all of us, it impacted us much greater than what we would ever thought a recreational softball game would be with strangers, And so I think the Lord used that powerfully. And the hope and the prayer is that it used it for all the people that are interacting with us too, because maybe they didn't know Jesus. And so just to be able to see that bonding and just to have that fun and that joy, I think it was just really powerful. It's something that while it was thrown in at the very end, it was last second and wasn't planned. I think it was the Lord's work in making sure that it happened. And while he kept us alive every day as we were sore more and more every day, we kept on showing up. And I think that was really special to be able to do that with everybody.
It is the power of sports is unbelievable. So a great testimony out of this is that many of the players that you had the opportunity to play with, they were professional athletes, AAA athletes, Cuba baseball, that they got retired, and there is not a lot of hope for those people. So being able to offer this infrastructure in the island, these are non-believers that they wouldn't come to the church at all. So we have been working with these people when they were active professional players, and we never got them to either participate or to come to one of our services. There was nothing that would get them connected to the local church. But now, because we have this baseball field, there was, hey, can we just go play softball? They didn't care. They showed up, and this is the third time that they are coming to us. So they started in the summer. So and now they're coming, and as we know, faith is coming by hearing the word of God. So every time we have the opportunity to evidence Christ through our action, through our game. So that's the seed that is being planted in their hearts. And I am confident that many people are going to come to Christ because this baseball field, and we're also building a pickleball field that you got to see the very beginning of it, because we have a trip in February that is going to be very focused on evangelistic pickleball games. And I feel that infrastructure for the church in Cuba is key during these times. People are going to come, even if they don't go to church, they will come to our camp to play sports. So that is very fantastic. So as you are now days after our trip and you're thinking about it, so what would you say to people that are thinking, hey, should I go on a mission trip? Should we do this? Should we invest the resources? Should we take time away from family? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you can never put in question what the Lord's going to be able to do through you and for you if you're willing to go. And if you're willing to take that step out and maybe be uncomfortable and do something that you've never done before, he will always meet you and blow you away with what he's going to do. And He can do it in a lot of different ways. He can do it in a softball game that you didn't even know you were going to be playing 2 days before. And I think to have the opportunity to give him that chance to work through you is something that is more powerful than I've ever experienced, which is why I love missions. And I love being able to go see what the Lord does through every single different culture interaction that you get to experience. And so for me, that is the thing that I absolutely love to, not just for myself, but the people that go. We had 2 people that had never been on a trip before, never really even been too much out of the country. And so for them to go, I think they were just blown away that the Lord continually met us. Even if it was something that was challenging, there was still something that the Lord was going to bring through that. And relationships, I think one of the really interesting things was, as we were talking about those softball games, at the end of it, we had these people that we had never really even shared words with, but every game we're hugging and we're giving high fives to each other. And even with the younger kids, the guys that were 10, 12 years old, at first they were really hesitant, not sure if they was like, I don't know about this. But at the end, every single inning, they're coming to find us, give us high fives, hugging us at the end of it. And I think those are the things that you would never expect, because only the Lord can do that. And if you have that willingness to step out and go and be able to experience those things, it will change you. It will change you for the rest of your life. And you'll see the Lord in new light and be able to see how he works in a much bigger way than what we can ever fathom just in our human minds.
Yeah, you even shared with me that at the end, those guys, they didn't realize that was the last time that they will see them on the trip, that they were about to go. And then they got even a little bit emotional saying goodbyes to their new Cuban friends. And I believe that what uh, only Christ can do, that connection with your brothers and sisters in other places that you don't know, and also how you have been adopted now in the part of the family. They are going to be expecting when is going to be the next time that these guys are going to come back, so that we can have this time together. So how when I'm going to see my brothers again? I always explain that Cuba is an interesting place because it seems like there's an island where not a lot of people are able to get out. So the only way they have to see the world and to be encouraged is when people actually go down there. And you doing that are actually encouraging our team, our people, not just to share the gospel, but also you're giving them strength to say, hey, you're not alone. So you guys are not alone. You have your brothers and sisters in the United States that are praying for you and are here to support you so that you can accomplish your great commission. So that was an unbelievable trip. I loved it, every single one of them. The one thing that I always advertise about Cuba is the great food we have. And I'm sorry, I'm sounding a little bit biased, but I mean, Cuban food was great. So I don't know for you, Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, Cuban food was great. I mean, I think, the guys were really talking to me, just the amount of love that's poured into cooking the food. They said it was just amazing. Every meal that they had, it was like, man, this is just special, and the flavor was great. The preparation was great. The conversations around it, explaining it, teaching us about all the different foods that we were eating. I think, it just made every experience, every meal greater each time we had a new sit down, because it became the point of, oh man, what are we going to have in the next meal? Oh man, what are we going to have in the next meal? And so I think that's a great representation of how good the food is. When you have people that are working all day and doing things all day, and sometimes they are thinking, okay, well, yeah, sure, we'll eat. But these guys were like, I'm ready for the next meal. What is it? What are we going to be eating? Who are we going to be hanging out with? And so that expectation part of it, I think, was a good reflection of how good it was.
Yeah, our team in Cuba, they're always looking forward to cook a meal for our friends from America. And, I couldn't finish this time with you without talking about the meal, because I know that we had a lot of fun, eating the meal. And brother, thank you very much. Thank you, Christ Fellowship. Thank you for the love that you have shown for these years, and also deciding to come and help the work and seeing it. So that is important for us. We want to be a bridge that can connect the extension, like a new branch of your church in Cuba, right? So that's what we are, the family in Christ. We're one church, multiple places. So God bless you, Adam. I love you, brother. You have been amazing to us. And again, extend our gratitude to your church and to your team, your family.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.